Imagine a man named Job. He had everything you could ever dream of: a loving family, vast lands teeming with livestock, and a reputation for being the most righteous man in all the land. His days were filled with sunlight, the laughter of his children, and the respect of his community. He was blessed beyond measure, and every morning he thanked God for his incredible fortune. Life was perfect, a beautiful, unbroken song of joy and gratitude. But high above, in a realm beyond human sight, a conversation was taking place. The heavenly beings gathered, and among them came a wandering spirit, a challenger. God pointed to Job, saying, "Have you seen my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil." The challenger sneered. "Does Job fear God for nothing? You've built a hedge around him, his household, and everything he has. You've blessed his work, and his flocks cover the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and I guarantee he will curse you to your face." A chilling challenge was issued. "Very well," God replied. "Everything he has is in your power, but on the man himself, do not lay a finger." The stage was set for a trial of unimaginable proportions. Disaster struck like a series of lightning bolts. One day, a messenger, breathless and terrified, ran to Job. "Raiders have stolen your oxen and donkeys and killed the servants." Before he could even finish, another arrived. "Fire from the sky has burned up your sheep and the shepherds." Then another. "Chaldean raiders have carried off your camels and killed the servants." Catastrophe after catastrophe, wiping out his entire fortune in a single afternoon. But the cruelest blow was yet to come. The final messenger, his face streaked with tears, stammered, "Your sons and daughters were feasting when a mighty wind swept in from the desert and collapsed the house. They are all gone." In a single moment, Job's world, once so full of life and laughter, was reduced to rubble and silence. His wealth, his legacy, his beloved children all snatched away. Job fell to the ground, his heart shattered. He tore his robe and shaved his head in utter grief. But through the suffocating pain, he spoke words that would echo through eternity. "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." Even in his darkest hour, faced with unimaginable loss, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. His faith, though shaken to its core, held firm. But the test was far from over. The challenger returned to the heavenly court. "A man will give all he has for his own life," he argued. "But stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face." Permission was granted once more, with a single condition: "He is in your hands, but you must spare his life." A new wave of suffering washed over Job. Painful sores erupted all over his body, from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. He was a broken man, sitting in a pile of ashes, scraping his agonizing wounds with a piece of pottery. He was unrecognizable, a ghost of the prosperous man he once was. His own wife, seeing his misery, cried out, "Are you still maintaining your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job replied, "You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Then 3 of Job's friends Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar heard of his troubles and came to comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. They wept aloud, tore their robes, and sat with him on the ground in silence for 7 days and 7 nights, because they saw how great his suffering was. The silence was heavy, thick with unspoken questions and shared grief. Finally, Job broke the silence, not with a curse against God, but with a lament for his own life. "Why did I not perish at birth?" he cried. "Why did the knees receive me? Why the breast that I should nurse? For now I would be lying down in peace. I would be asleep and at rest." His words were a torrent of despair, a raw, human cry from a soul pushed to the brink. His friends, intending to comfort, began to speak. But their words were not of solace. Eliphaz suggested that Job must have sinned to deserve such punishment. "Think now," he said, "who, being innocent, has ever perished? Those who plow evil and sow trouble reap it." Bildad was harsher, insisting that Job's children must have sinned, and that Job himself needed to plead with the Almighty for mercy. Zophar went even further, accusing Job of hiding some secret iniquity. They were convinced that suffering was always a direct result of sin. Job listened, his frustration mounting. He was being accused by the very people who were supposed to be his comfort. "I am blameless," he insisted. "I know my Redeemer lives, and that in the end he will stand on the earth. And after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh I will see God." He began to question not God's existence, but his justice. He longed for a chance to plead his case, to understand why this was happening to him, an innocent man. The debate raged on, a whirlwind of theology, accusation, and desperate defense. After the friends fell silent, a young man named Elihu, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. He was angry with Job for justifying himself rather than God, and angry with the 3 friends for failing to provide a real answer. Elihu argued that suffering isn't always punishment. Sometimes, he explained, God uses it to teach, to refine, and to draw a person closer to him, a way to save them from their own pride and open their ears to correction. He prepared the way for an even greater voice to be heard. Then, out of a powerful whirlwind, God himself answered Job. He didn't offer a simple explanation for Job's suffering. Instead, he challenged Job's understanding of the universe. "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Who marked off its dimensions? Who shut up the sea behind doors and laid the cornerstone of the world while the morning stars sang together?" God revealed his immense power and wisdom, showing Job a universe so vast, so complex, so far beyond human comprehension. He spoke of lions and mountain goats, of the constellations and the changing seasons. Through this majestic display, Job saw his own smallness and the infinite greatness of his Creator. He realized he had been speaking of things he did not understand, things too wonderful for him to know. Humbled, Job replied, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore, I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes." He didn't get the answers he wanted, but he got something far more profound. A direct encounter with God that restored his trust and silenced his questions. In the end, God rebuked Job's friends for misrepresenting him. He then turned his favor back to Job. The story takes an incredible turn. God restored Job's fortunes not just to what they were, but double. He was blessed with 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 donkeys. And once again, his home was filled with the joy of family. He had 7 more sons and 3 more daughters who were known as the most beautiful women in all the land. Job lived for another 140 years, long enough to see his children and their children to the 4th generation. He lived a long, full life, a testament not to a life free from pain, but to a faith that could endure the fire and emerge stronger, purer, and more profound than ever before. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that inspire.